El Clásico, Jimmy Conrad. Always historically such an entertaining game. We were doubting whether this one was going to be of essence, partly as well because it was in Saudi Arabia. No disrespect, but a game of this magnitude, I feel, deserves all the local domestic attention.
I agree.
And of course, so what is that? What you think? What'd you make?
I do agree with that. But when they agreed to do the deal and have this tournament in Saudi Arabia, as we now know, La Liga was bleeding money. And so they probably accepted a good deal of it from Saudi Arabia to hold this historic tournament there. And you do lose a little bit of that local feel, the culture that comes from having Spanish games in Spain as opposed to somewhere else. But with regard to the game itself, I thought that Madrid were going to be the clear runaway winners of this one. I didn't think Barcelona had too much of a chance.
I had it as 2-0. Yeah.
You had 2-0. Yeah. I don't remember what I said. I had Madrid winning, but I didn't think it was going to be as close as it was. And I was really impressed with the way that Barcelona punched back. Now, the first goal that Luke de Jong scored, 3 goals in 3 games, by the way, was a bit fortuitous. Militao's got to do a lot better in that situation. And letting Ansu Fati, who's like 5'0", get a free header at the top of the 6 with 7 minutes left is unacceptable. But I just thought Madrid were the better team. And their quality on the counterattack in particular is nothing short of amazing. The first goal where Benzema picks Busquets' pocket, and that leads to him putting Vinicius through. By the way, if you can watch any goal, just to see what one player is doing, Vinicius is another level. We talked about them being the best duo in the world right now, and when you see this, you understand why. But after Benzema does all the work to get it set up, Vinicius' first touch to get away from the defender, fantastic. The second one to set up his shot, even better. The goal, the finish, even better than that. I mean, Vinicius is on another level right now. And then Benzema scored. And it's just like these guys are probably the best duo in the world at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, I said Vinicius Junior. We're going to circle back to Vinny in a second. But let's throw this question first. Hey, Jake, I'm here too. I can ask about Sergiño just because I'm not American, but I know Sergiño Dest, Jake. But Jimmy, do you think Sergiño Dest is done at Barcelona after being completely left out of the squad today?
I think there has to be something to it. I mean, if he got left out of the squad and there's no injury or COVID concerns, then there must be something brewing behind the scenes. I'm just curious. I mean, there's rumors that he might be going to Chelsea on loan, which would be an interesting experience. Yes, and where he fits in, because I feel like they have players of similar quality to him that can fill in. Christian Pulisic is one, Hudson-Odoi. But I guess Dest does have a little bit more of that wing-back experience. It would be interesting to see how he does there, and for a lot of different reasons. But I think he'd get better. He'd get better from that experience. And if he's not part of Xavi's plans and they're going to go somewhere else, then it might be time for him to move on. I just don't know what the best destination is for him, Luis. And I'm curious what you think. I mean, going back to Ajax, he didn't really spend that much time at Ajax either because he's a young player. I would love for him to go maybe back to them, but he might see that as a step back after being at Barcelona. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no, that's where I was going. I was thinking maybe just go back to Ajax for a second. I mean, they're one of the best teams in Europe right now, and obviously Champions League potential, etc. I will just leave it with this. Fabrizio Romano reminded us in this show that Barcelona considers Sergiño Dest a good player. They like him, but he's not untouchable. So if somebody wants to come in and offer something, they will definitely be ready. A quick question on this one. Should Greg Berhalter call him back up for this month? What do you think, Jimmy?
Oh, absolutely. I think you want to give these players a chance to get back into a different setting. It depends. Well, let me say it like this. I guess it depends. If he makes a move to Chelsea and all of a sudden he's in, a new situation, he's trying to get his footing there, maybe you would consider bringing in somebody else. And then but Yedlin isn't necessarily lighting it up in Turkey at the moment. And none of our guys are really like killing it outside of Weston McKennie. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but we've seen in the past that sometimes when you bring a player in that doesn't have a lot of confidence and you get him around his friends and just that warm environment where he's feeling supported, sometimes that can be the thing that unlocks how that kind of stress that they're feeling, and they start to play a little bit more free, and then they go back to the club teams with a little more confidence. So I'm hopeful that that's the situation. He comes in and plays well, helps us get at least 7 points out of these 3 games in the qualifying window, and we get one step closer to qualifying for the World Cup.
Well, there you have it. Hopefully for the USMNT faithful. Let's circle back to Vinicius Junior, by the way. 15 goals in all competitions this season. That is the same number as his past 3 previous seasons combined with Real Madrid. There is clearly something that Ancelotti has provided for him. I feel he's more calm on the ball. Time has slowed down for him. He's more balanced. And obviously, Jimmy, that partnership with Karim Benzema, we always knew. It's funny because it wasn't too long ago when Karim Benzema was kind of talking some smack about Vinicius Junior in a way, right? Saying that, don't give him the ball, whatever. Now it's like Batman and Robin.
It really is. I feel like there's been a trust that's been extended from Benzema to Vinicius. Whereas if you saw in the first season in particular, and maybe a little less in the second season, Benzema would always throw up his hands. Like, this kid just takes too many touches. He holds it too long when he should play quick. He plays quick when he should hold it for a little bit longer. He just was always doing the opposite of what I think Benzema wanted. And now you're seeing this really come to fruition. So I think it's a couple things. One, I think it's him getting older. It's him understanding what it means to actually play for Madrid. And I also want to throw Carlo Ancelotti in there because I think he's a player whisperer in maybe a way that Zidane wasn't. And trying to encourage him and support him in a way, and maybe even helping Benzema deal with the relationship with our younger players, not just Vinicius, but Rodrigo and everybody else. That's allowing him to flourish. And I think it's a combination of all these things. And as his confidence continues to grow, like even on the third goal that they scored in extra time, the ball that comes across from Rodrigo, he dummies it like he's playing out in the park with his friends to leave it for Fede Valverde, who slots it. I don't know if we would have seen the same version of Vinicius. He might have rushed it, got that ball caught underneath his feet. Maybe they don't score, in previous seasons. So,
and that was my point about
crazy how good he is.
I feel Ancelotti has given him a sort of balanced game. Like, everything has slowed down for him. There's that commercial. I think it was Peyton Manning where, like, he gets the ball and everything slows down.
Right.
That's Vinicius Junior right now. Like, everything has slowed down for him, and Real Madrid look very good. Having said that, by the way, 6 straight winless Clásico for Barcelona. We can't say that they lost, but I do feel, Jimmy, I wonder your point, that there's a lot of positives that Xavi can take out of this. I think that obviously they're a transition team. Listen, on paper, depth, squad, talent, Real Madrid is a better team. Okay? Strategy as well. Currently the favorites for La Liga, but Barcelona, I feel Xavi can take a lot from what he saw today.
I think you could probably look at every position. Ter Stegen looks a little bit sharper. It's unfortunate on the Benzema goal where it gets deflected out. It's like a second save. He's trying to get big, and that's a little bit unlucky. But I feel like he's been sharper over the last couple weeks and months, so that's good. Dani Alves getting meaningful minutes, getting him a little bit fitter, getting him back into the system is important. You still have a really old back line, though, with Piqué and Jordi Alba as well. Making sure you start to get that midfield three if it is going to be, Gavi could play there today, but Pedri ended up coming in, so getting Pedri some more minutes. Ansu Fati making his return to the first team as well. Scoring a goal. Getting Ferran Torres, even though he came out at half, but getting Ferran Torres minutes. I was actually pleasantly surprised that Memphis Depay was like their super sub that came off the bench. Now, it is interesting, though, that they've scored a bunch of headers in the last few games with Luuk de Jong and now Ansu Fati. I'm like, what version of Barcelona are we watching? Because he's more like
man they want to get rid of, by the way.
Really. So, yes, there are some takeaways. I think that Xavi knows exactly the kind of team that he has. I think his expectations seem set firm in reality, and I appreciate that about them. He doesn't really blow smoke up anybody's ass, and that's refreshing in some ways because he's not tap dancing around anything. Maybe that's because he's a club legend and he can just be himself and not have to be anybody that he's not. And then Ousmane Dembele actually playing the whole game too, I thought was important. So if they can get these young players healthy and back into the team, the future is so bright for Barcelona, but it's just going to take some time. So I encourage those fans, even though it's as hard as it is, to exercise some patience.